Hello everyone, it's Monica from EDAC. Today I'm going to create an interior visualization using D5 Render in 15 minutes. Never used D5 before? That's perfect. I will walk you through every step, even if you are just starting out. I will guide you through the entire process, from importing the models, setting up the lights, creating materials, all the way to the final render. Are you ready? Let's get started. Before we start using D5 Render, let's quickly check the system requirements. You need Windows 10 or newer and a good graphics card that supports ray tracing. Even if your computer has a strong processor, D5 Render will not work without the right graphics card. It's the GPU that does most of the work here. To see the full list of supported cards, just click the Detailed Info button. In there, you'll find all the compatible graphics cards listed. Make sure everything's ready, and then we can jump into creating visualization. This is the scene we'll be working with today. You can download the same model along with all the textures and maps. The download link is in the video description, so you can follow along. Just a quick reminder, to create a good visualization, your SketchUp model needs to be clean and well structured. Use groups, components, and tags to stay organized. This will make your work much easier later on in D5 Render. Let's open D5 Render. Firstly, I click on Workflow. Now let's connect SketchUp to D5 Render using LiveSync. You can download the SketchUp LiveSync plugin right from this panel. If you make changes in SketchUp later, you can reload the model in D5 Render with just one click. Let's create a new project. I click on New on the left side of the screen. To import the model, I click on the three horizontal lines in the top left corner to open the File menu, File, Import, and choose my SketchUp file. After a few seconds, it appears in the imported list on the left. I select the model and place it into the scene. Then, on the right side, in the Inspector panel, I reset the model's position by setting X, Y, and Z values to 0. Remember, the model you see in D5 Render is linked to your SketchUp file. So, if you make any changes in SketchUp and save the file, just go to the Object tab in D5, right-click on the model, and choose Reload. That way, your updates will appear without having to re-import everything. Let's talk about the interface. On the left side, you will find a scene list, layers, and all imported models and objects in your scene. If I click on the Object tab, you will see our SketchUp model and the terrain listed here. At the top, you have tools like lights, particles, terrain, and more. On the right side, you will find the Environment tab, where you can set up natural lighting, and the Effect tab, which we'll use later during post-production. If I click on the model, you can change its properties in the Inspector window on the right. And finally, in the upper left corner, there's the Assets button. This gives you access to models, materials, HDRI maps, and more, which you can easily add to your scene. And that's a quick overview of the most important parts of the interface. Now let's navigate the scene. I'm clicking on the navigation button in the upper right corner. And here you can choose between three modes: Orbit, Fly, and Walk. Personally, I mostly use Orbit and Fly modes. If you prefer the classic SketchUp style, choose Orbit mode. You can rotate around your model using your middle mouse button, just click and drag. To zoom in or out, use the scroll wheel. If you want to move freely through the scene, like in a video game, switch to Fly mode. Here are the basic controls. W, move forward. S, move backwards. A, move left. D, move right. Q, move up. E, move down. Hold the right mouse button to look around. Hold Shift to move faster. And press the spacebar to move more slowly. And that's it. Now you know how to move around in your scene. Now it's time to create a camera view. I select Orbit mode and move inside the building. I click the Camera button in the top right corner. I adjust the field of view, usually around 50 degrees, and switch to 2-point perspective. Next, I use Fly mode to adjust the camera position, moving around with the W, S, A, and D keys on the keyboard. I create a new scene by clicking on the Create New Scene button. If you adjust the camera view and want to save it again, you can easily update the scene by clicking on the Update Scene icon. In the new 2.10 version of D5 Render, there's a real-time path tracing option that significantly improves the visual quality of your scenes. It gives you accurate lighting, soft shadows, and realistic reflections. To turn it on or off, click the three horizontal lines in the top left corner of the screen to open the main menu. Then go to Preferences, and under the Rendering tab, you will find the option to enable real-time path tracing. At the end of the video, I will show you a comparison between a visualization with path tracing turned on and one with it turned off, so you can clearly see the difference in quality. It's time to set up the natural light in the scene. To do that, I go to the Environment tab, and here you can choose one of three lighting methods: Geosky, Custom, or HDRI. You can only use one at a time, so just pick the one that fits your scene best. In the Geosky tab, you control the sun's position. For example, I can adjust the north offset to rotate the direction of sunlight without moving the whole model. There are also weather, fog, or wind settings, more useful for exterior scenes, so I will leave them as they are. The next option is Custom. Here you can manually adjust sunlight intensity, the sun disk radius, altitude, and other lighting properties. The third option is HDRI. This lets you use an HDRI map for realistic lighting and reflections. You can pick one from the built-in list or upload your own. I will choose Sunset Glow 03 as an example, and then I can tweak the intensity, rotation, temperature, and sky color. Now I will upload my own HDRI map. I go to Customize HDR and choose Canon HDR file. Once you adjust the lighting the way you like, don't forget to update the scene to save it. Now I will add artificial light for the wall lamp. I click the Add Lights icon and choose a spotlight. Then I place it directly on the wall lamp. On the right side, in the Inspector tab, you can adjust the light properties. You can select an IS type from the built-in list or upload your own IS file. To do that, click Customize IS and choose a file from your folder. Then you can fine-tune the intensity, cone angle, and temperature. Okay, our lighting setup is complete. Now it's time to move on to materials. I will create some of my own and also use ready-made materials from the library. You can find a library with models, materials, particles, and HDRI maps by clicking the Assets button in the upper left corner. I click on it, then go to the Materials section. First, I will choose a glass material. I go to the glass category and select More Glass, which I really like using in my projects. I click on it. Sometimes it takes a moment to load, and then I apply the material to the glass surface. On the right side, let's adjust the material properties. Base color sets a flat color for the material, just one solid color. Base color map lets you apply a texture or image to give the material more detail, like wood or fabric. In the UV section, I can change the stretch values, which controls how the texture is scaled on the surface. So if the pattern looks too small or too large, you can fix it here by adjusting the X and Y values. Then I will choose a plastic material for the baseboards. I go to the plastic category and select the ordinary light plastic material. I apply it to the baseboards. It looks a bit too dark, so I go to the base color tab and brighten it slightly. Okay, now it looks great. Next, I'm going to apply a gold material. I type gold in the search bar and choose the natural gold material from the library. Then I apply it to the objects in the scene. In the material settings, under the base color map, I reduce the saturation of the gold because it looks too intense by default. And now it looks perfect. Then I will choose material for the door. I go to plastic category and choose dark gray plastic. The doors are too dark, so I go to properties of base color map and set brightness to 27. I come a little closer to check the detail of the material, and I change Stretch in UV tab to adjust the size of the material. I will show you how to create a material from scratch in D5 Render. First, I go to the Assets window and click on the Others category. From there, I choose Custom Material. The first step is to apply it to the object. In this case, I'm applying it to the coffee table. Next, I upload a marble texture to the base color map. Then I set the specular value to 1. In D5 Render, specular works similarly to the reflection color in V-Ray. It controls the strength of the reflections. Now let's talk about roughness. In V-Ray, you can choose between reflection glossiness and reflection roughness. In D5 Render, we only have roughness, and it works as the inverse of glossiness. So setting roughness to 0.05 is the same as setting glossiness to 0.95. And that's it. Our material is ready. Let's create a PBR material using our texture maps. I have 4 texture maps ready: diffuse, specular, glossiness, and normal. First, I create a new material and apply it to the wall. You can upload each map separately using the texture slots or simply drag and drop them into place. Base color map, drag the diffuse map. Specular, drag the specular map. Roughness, drag the glossiness map. Normal, drag the normal map. Since we are using a glossiness map in the roughness slots, we need to invert it. Just check the inverted option in the roughness settings. Then I move a bit closer to the wall to preview the material details. To adjust the texture scale, I go to the UV tab and change the stretch values until the size looks right. Let's select the floor material. I click on the material picker icon and select the floor surface. On the right side, I will adjust the material properties. For the roughness slots, I upload the glossiness map and check the invert option. I also set roughness value to 1. Next, I navigate through the scene to check how the reflections look on the floor. By increasing or decreasing the specular value, we can control the intensity of the reflections. Then, I upload a normal map to the normal slot and set its intensity to 0.1. And that's it. We are done. The final material is the fabric for the armchair. I will not create it from scratch this time. I go to the Assets library, choose the fabric category, and select the flannelette 02 material. Next, I click on the base color map and adjust its properties. I set hue to 0, saturation to -100, and brightness to 13. Desaturating the texture makes it much easier to apply and control the final color. Then I go to the base color section and choose an orange tone. I set the hue to 28, saturation to 64, and value to 96. To make the color more vivid, I increase the color intensity to 2. And that's it. I also increase the fall-off value to make the fabric reflections softer and more realistic. In the UV tab, the triplanar option is turned on by default. For complex geometry, it's good to leave triplanar enabled as it helps fix texture mapping issues. Okay, and that is for our materials. We can save any materials we've created. All you need to do is use the material picker to select the wall material, then click the Add to Local icon. Now, if I go to the Assets panel and open the Local tab, you will see that the wall material has been saved. I will rename it to Wall. And that's it. This way, you can save all the custom materials in the Local tab and reuse them in different projects. It's time to add some models to make the scene more detailed and visually interesting. I type cap in the search bar and place it on the coffee table. I scale it down to make it smaller and better fit the scene. Then I type painting and place it on the wall. By clicking on any model, you can adjust its position, rotation, or scale. Now the render looks much more complete. I think we are ready to create the final render. First, I go to the Effects tab and adjust the visual settings. Here I can tweak the exposure, contrast, temperature, and even add a vignette. Once I'm happy with the result, we can move on to rendering. To do that, I click on the image icon here. In the settings, I change the aspect ratio to 1:1, and I can also adjust the camera position if needed. Then I choose a preset size, for example to 2K resolution. In the channel section, I make sure to enable the AI post channel. This will allow to enhance the image later using AI post processing. That's it. I start the render. I name it real-time path tracing because we enabled the real-time path tracing option. And the render is created. It took just 49 seconds to complete. Next, I will disable the real-time path tracing option and render the same view again. This time I will rename it to no real-time path tracing. This render took 39 seconds and here's the result. If we compare both renders, we can see that the one with real-time path tracing is of a higher quality, although it took a bit more time to generate. In my opinion, it's worth keeping this option turned on for better results. Now let's enhance the render with AI post-processing. I click on the AI post-processing icon, go to the Source tab and select the version rendered with real-time path tracing. Now let's enhance the render with AI post-processing. On the right side we have AI style transfer, which I really like. I switch to the Realistic tab and upload my own reference image. Then I click AI style transfer and wait for the results. The effect looks great, but a bit too strong for my taste. So I open both renders in Photoshop and blend them by adjusting the opacity of the AI styled image. And this is my final visualization. What do you think about D5 Render? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, remember to subscribe to the channel and see you next time. Bye!